Greetings, true believers. Future Slate is here, no longer called 5G. As you know, AT&T owns DC Comics, and it was supposed to actually coincide with the release of 5G itself. I guess, and then all that's off the shelf because you type in 5G DC Comics, and but. Yeah, there won't be a project called 5G or Big Reboot or whatever. That was back. Jim Lee came on, right, to replace Dan Didio, and tried to revert everything that's about to happen because I guess he didn't believe that fans wanted this. But 5G is happening in the form of Future Slate. And with Future Slate, what's happening is that they're going to come off of the most recent dark metal series and basically have all of the iconic heroes replaced by a new generation. And what I wanted to focus on was Batman, because there's been this fanfare over 12 Years a Slave screenwriter John Ridley going to pen a Batman miniseries for the upcoming slate. Now, what it is that there's going to be two casts happening, one in, I guess, the current time frame and one in the future. And, the new Batman's going to be black. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but what's his deal? Oh, no, but he's going to be black. All right, but I mean, that's great. Where does he come from? What's his story? There's not a lot of, I know there's not a lot of black characters. It's like, I know there's not a lot of black characters in the Batman universe. That's why it's great Batman's going to be black. And it's like, yeah, no, I get that. So let's check this out. Because you'll see the progression. It's terrible. We also see the introduction of a new Batman, one completely masked, whose identity has not yet been revealed. Thing is, this mystery hero has their work cut out for them as they try to avoid facial recognition and technology to give themselves some kind of advantage over the magistrate. And that means a more analog Batman will need to focus on wit, guile, and physical acumen, according to John Ridley. We also get a tease of the original Batman from writer, future state dark detective Mariko Tamaki. I think the magistrate wants a lot of things that are helped by Batman being dead. You'd almost have to know who you were dealing with if you wanted to kill him, and you'd have to be some pretty hefty resources at your disposal. Because somewhere in the article, it's early in the morning. Somewhere in the article, it's not that early. It's like 8:30. Somewhere in the article, he talks about them like, oh, it's a mysterious figure. There's no idea. You don't know who it is, who Batman is. And it's like, but wait a minute, weren't you guys saying it back in August and September it was going to be Luke Fox? It's like, there's not a lot of black characters in the Batman universe anyway, right? And, we're going to get to that. Yeah. And so there's not a lot of people it could be. Luke Fox is already Batwing in Africa, and he's the son of Lucius Fox, and Bruce's most trusted confidant and engineer. Come on. And you already said that it was that's the part that kills me. All right, so that leads me, however sloppily, hold on, wait. And then, that leads me, however sloppily, to this Black Batman Unmasked. I hate this. Let me tell you right now, right from the jump, I hate this. I hate things being passed off to minorities and to other groups, whatever you want to call them, and it being called representation. I dislike the idea of it only being important because he's black. Like, would this same sort of fanfare be applied if Dick Grayson stopped being Nightwing and started being Batman? I feel like that would be more important, right? Because it was important as a story arc for Dick to become Nightwing. He found Batman too volatile, found him being morally compromised, and became Nightwing to represent, the sort of code of ethics that he felt embodied him. Right? I feel like that would make more sense. That would be a deeper story than, oh, wow, the new Batman's black. Just pick that. That's it. Like, that is, it is as about as shallow as it can get when you have characters like Safe Space and Snowflake. Marvel dumped the New Warriors because of stuff like that. John Ridley is a fantastic writer. 12 Years a Slave was an amazing movie. So it isn't that and that's the thing, I reserve judgment about the story itself, but the way this is being covered is very one-dimensional. It's very shallow, and I don't know, it's kind of racist. So let's talk about Black Batman. It's like, no, bro, it's just Batman. It's like, just please stop. DC Comics reveals a look and unmasks the new Black Batman. They really have monikered this as the new Black Batman. That will be written by John Ridley as part of its upcoming Future Slate event that launches in January. However, the identity... Oh, it's in this... it's in this article. However, the identity of the new Batman is still unknown. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? All right, we'll play the mystery game. It's fine. Details for the next Batman comic. Oh, not the Black Batman. Okay. From Ridley includes, in this future, Gotham City is controlled by the Magistrate, which we just read about. This villainous regime has taken control of the city, now under constant surveillance. All mass vigilantes have been outlawed, and Batman has been killed, supposedly, but obviously not. But led by an all-new Batman, who is black, and whose identity we don't know, but is pretty sure it's Luke Fox, because they already said that. A new assembly of Gotham's Guardians rise to give hope to all of those who lost it. The list of comics, concept, and preview art and more about the new Batman. And again, it's just interesting. The first two, Black Batman, it's like, let me just stop with the Black Batman stuff. So, the next Batman. I mean, the look, ever since Arkham Origins, ever since the Arkham games, the armored tactical Batman has always been the look. I've always been a fan of the sort of, not like nylon, but like the bodysuit, you know what I mean? The ninja style bodysuit. Low tech Batman has always been interesting because they used to, in the older comics, they used to, henchmen getting their asses kicked, or members of the League of Assassins would talk about him moving and fighting like a demon, and the speed, right, and the prowess and by which he fought. It was much more ninja-like. Like when you have all this tack gear, he's in explosions and he's getting shot up, riddled with bullets. It's just like it is less tactical with more tactical gear. But I digress. Let's see. It is really the logical extension of what we've been going on with the Joker War, explains Ridley in a free DC Comics giveaway about the next Batman comic book. What happens when Gotham turns into a total battleground? When people start to think there are no good masks, they're all a threat. Even the police are not equipped to handle them. When you have a city that decides to bring in a private police force, when they decide to turn law and order to an outside entity, what does that mean? It's a private army driven not by morality, not by law, but really by one edict that all masks are bad. Ridley comments on how the new Batman will have unexpected resources to go along with changes in Gotham City. It's really difficult to avoid technology and facial recognition. You have a Batman who has to operate in a space where the only advantage he can have is to be analog, right? Even though that looks whatever. The material that it's made out of doesn't necessarily have to be technologically representative, right? It could have like a low radar signature or something. Fine. When you start removing those digital tools, you're like a caveman fighting computers. It really is rolling back Batman to being an individual who's much more about his wit, his guile, and his physics. That's what I mean. Like I appreciate John Ridley as a writer, and the direction that he's taking. It's cool. Like I definitely like low tech Batman for the reasons stated earlier, but the way that the media is portraying this is something that I dislike. The way and the way that the media is portraying it is causing backlash unnecessarily. The damn comic hasn't even come out yet. You're outmanned, you're outgunned, and the only thing you really do is go back to the original Batman. The shadows are your friend, right? The night is your ally. The city is your battleground. Okay, so the writer of Future State Dark Detective also tackles the question that if there's a new Batman, what happened to the Batman who protected Gotham City for all those years? Yana, 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 yana. Okay, so then, right. So John Ridley explains his approach to writing DC's Black Batman. Oh, so we're back to Black Batman. Okay. So on DC's Future Slate, John Ridley takes the new Batman in a different direction and explores how his race sets him apart from Bruce Wayne. Here we go. In 2021, DC would jump ahead to an alternate future for the 2-month DC Future Slate event, and John Ridley will be exploring how the new Batman's race impacts his heroism in the next Batman. Now, let's take into consideration that if it's Luke Fox, the son of Lucius Fox, who is a wealthy engineer who works for one of the wealthiest men on the planet, probably would not have endured a lot of hardship. You feel me? So if we're going to take that route, I just want to put that preface out there to begin with before I read the article, right? Because I don't know how he's going to break this down, but I'm just saying if he takes that direction, that would be my first like pause. Like, wait a minute, this dude, I don't feel like he went through a lot of economic hardship. Just say he might have been a, who knows, whatever. We'll look. Let's break it down. Speaking with the LA Times, the Oscar-winning writer said, "What I'm talking about is a person's background, a person's status, a person that may have been given everything in life." Okay, sometimes people who are given a lot of things don't understand struggle. Good. So it's one thing to be black. That doesn't mean all the struggles of our daily lives are exactly the same. Excellent. Black people aren't a monolithic group, and there are many factors that determine someone's identity that Ridley is taking into consideration. Perfect. Wealth is a privilege, but it doesn't create a shield against racism or other forms of oppression. That's questionable. That actually is a linchpin of the argument being made that economic opportunity, because racism as an ideology, you can't smash out with money, but economic opportunity allows those who are being oppressed by those who are delivering the racist ideology to overcome those obstacles. If racist or racism creates obstacles, economic prosperity is the tool by which you surmount those obstacles. So yes, wealth is a privilege, and it doesn't create a shield, but it does create the opportunity to surmount. So, questionable statement. Like Bruce Wayne, who was this new hero before they put on the cape and cowl, and how would that relate to how they conduct their crime fighting? Ridley had to ask himself questions when creating the next Batman, and how his blackness affects who he is in this new role. So they capitalized blackness. That's very interesting. What is this person going through? Hold on. I gotta do it. I gotta do something real quick. If I Google, wow, interesting. Wow. Google black. It's Merriam Dictionary. Interesting. All right. So we'll have to make another video about that. I really had to ask him. Right, I went through that. What is this person going through? What have they been gifted in life? What do they have to discover? One of the things they are fighting for or against before they even put on the costume. And how does that inform the Batman that they are? Ridley said, how that is so very different from Bruce Wayne. Are we sure about that? It's interesting that they put it that way, right? Because Bruce Wayne ends up foregoing his wealth and his everything to travel to like the darkest places on the planet to learn skills to come back to fight and become Batman. Now, depending on which like origin story you take, you know what I mean? I personally like, year one Frank Miller. He goes to the underworld of Gotham and lives as a criminal. Like he infiltrates the underground crime syndicates and like finds out how people are living, and you know what I mean. And he ends up getting thrown off a roof, crashes down through fire escapes, like passes by people who are living impoverishedly in windows, like they see him, crashing down, all that. Like he's in the gutters and shit. Like he ends up interacting and seeing as Batman the reality of Gotham City, and then as Bruce Wayne sees the disparity, economic and otherwise, living, the A-lister lifestyle. So, I mean, I'm not sure the approach that Ridley will take, but again, given that Luke Fox, if it is Luke Fox, I don't see how it's not going to be Luke Fox, as they already said it was going to be Luke Fox. Given his upbringing, given his life and the lifestyle that we have presumed him to already have lived, because we know him as Batwing, we know his character. It seems that it'll probably be a very similar take, a very similar path, but I digress. Ridley recently shared that the Batman in future State, I keep saying Slate, will be taking on the technologically advanced law enforcement agency known as it, and then we pivot. Very good. Taking on the magistrate, and will have to use an off-the-grid approach. He will have to rely more on his physical acumen, which already indicates some key changes from the way the modern Dark Knight does things. It will be a 2-month DC Future State. Will be a 2-month line-wide event beginning January 2021. February will feature a combination of monthly and twice-monthly oversized anthologies. Oh, I love anthologies. As well as a monthly schedule and blah, blah, blah. So, short article, thankfully, because there's not a lot to go on. Given the character of Luke Fox, and we know it's probably going to be Luke Fox, he basically has to walk the same path as Bruce Wayne did during his early days in order to gain perspective about what it is that he's fighting for versus what it is that he knows, right? And furthermore, if he's been Batwing in Africa, hasn't he seen poverty and seen desperation, like of a serious kind, like not the first world level where, yeah, you live in a gutter next to a dumpster and you eat old food coming out of McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts that they throwing away, but like it's still readily there and available. You go to Africa and third world countries, they've nothing beyond nothing, like poverty beyond poverty. So I digress. Please like and subscribe, and take care.